Today in history, in 1884, Congress declares Labor Day a legal holiday, kind of indicating that people celebrating before that date were doing so illegally?
Welcome to What the Fuck History, where we discuss the wackiest and weirdest things that make us say, well, what the fuck history. Tonight, I am your apologetic host, ZaCHary. To all of the French peoples, I would sincerely like to issue a formal apology for making you all the butt of many, many jokes. Now, can I borrow your fucking guillotine?
My name is Meghan, and I second the request to borrow the guillotine, and also really whatever country would like to throw in their arms of the revolution, I am also accepting those as well.
My name's Matt, and I third the vote for a guillotine, which means the motion carries. But also, today I learned that there are more plastic lawn flamingos in the world than there are actual flamingos.
That says so much.
Have you seen the guy? Have you seen the guy that made the plastic flamingo?
I'm betting. I will bet actual dollar money that he looks like the kind of guy that would make plastic lawn flamingos. I need to look him up now.
He looks... Yeah, man who invented
Inventor of plastic lawn flamingos.
He looks exactly like what you're imagining, and his name is Donald Featherstone.
Oh, no.
So...
Oh, Christ alive.
Did you see him?
Yeah, I'm gonna send this picture to you, Zach.
Oh, no, I'm looking it up.
Oh, yeah. No, it's bad.
Yeah, please.
Okay, but he looks so happy.
It's not bad.
He does look happy, but he definitely looks like the type of person that would make a lawn.
Yes.
His shirts are just, like, so flamboyant.
They are pretty
like,
loud.
He is the Hawaiian shirt dad.
Yeah, but, like, I also think it's so amazing. Like...
Oh no, I love him. Like he really dedicated himself to an aesthetic, and he was like, "This is my claim to fame."
Yeah, will not apologize. And I appreciate that.
Apologize.
My name is Donald Featherstone. What else was I gonna do with this name?
It is my divine right to make the plastic lawn flamingo.
You know what? You know how, like, Manifest Destiny was all about, like, claiming land and, like, just taking, you know, taking what's yours? Yeah, he did that.
Making plastic lawn flamingos.
Yeah, except he also probably claimed
I was about to say,
land
Donald Featherstone just, like, did Manifest Destiny all over everybody's lawn.
I wonder if he's got
it's true.
Have you heard that Eddie Izzard joke about planting flags?
No.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
He has this entire bit where he's like, the only reason that England was able to conquer as much land as it could is because they had a flag and they got to plant it in the ground and declare land theirs.
Oh, yeah.
So I wonder if Donald Featherstone had, like, a similar thing written inside each fucking pink flamingo that basically said, any house that has a pink flamingo is now my house.
My legal property.
That'd be so amazing.
In, like, a legally binding contract that's hidden inside the flamingo's feathers.
That's like some, like, bullshit supervillain plot, and I'm here for it.
Supervillain shit. All right, kids, we should probably get this show on the road here. Our strikes have been set to 0. We've played a game of rock, paper, scissors, and the order for tonight is Zach, because he used the Uber reverse, Meghan, and then I am bringing up the rear.
Are we calling it the Uber
so
reverse now?
I think the concept of the Uno reverse has just been done away with. I think Zach was originally slated to go last, and he just said that he was going to Uber reverse it. And I think I did the same thing last week. where I was supposed to go last, and then I was like, Uber reverse!
Just like an actual game of Uno, our rocks, paper, scissors match to decide who begins has devolved into utter anarchy and chaos.
Absolute chaos.
Yeah. Oh. But that's okay. We're all here for the chaos. So, my intro was not quite on theme for what I will be discussing tonight. It was important, and I'm serious. Please, I would like to hear about the guillotine as soon as possible.
Yeah, get back to us about that guillotine.
We'll begin tonight by saying, ladies, lords, and non-binary sovereigns, I once again humbly welcome you to Heinous Gentlemen of History. That's right, we are continuing our Heinous Gentlemen of History, which is going to be what I'm doing. This is my current run of Past Affairs, where I speak of some ne'er-do-wells who just so happen to have some manners.
I think I wish that all of the villains in my life were more gentlemanly, and by villains I mean politicians.
Yeah, but asking a politician to have any gentlemanly-like qualities is never gonna happen.
They used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Washington was a gentleman.
I remember the good old days. Yeah, I remember the good old days, all right?
Oh,
yeah.
300 years ago. I was there.
Oh gosh. I don't.
No, please don't go too far.
Don't send me down the rabbit hole. I'll be too depressed to do anything.
Tell me, why don't you tell me about your
my good bad boy? Thank you.
Hey, you know who else was a gentleman? Ronald Reagan.
Oh no, we're not gonna fucking start making on their rant. No, we can't do that. All right.
No, Zach's gotta go.
Tonight, we are going to be discussing a gentleman pirate.
Ooh, the Dread Pirate Robert?
No, we're going to be discussing Stede Bonnet.
Stede Bonnet?
Now, some of you might actually be like, hey, I know that fucking name, and you probably do know the name because thank the fucking gods for Taika Waititi. Stede Bonnet is one of the characters in Our Flag Means Death, along with Blackbeard. Which, have either of you watched that show?
I have not, but I want to.
It's on my list of, I need to watch this show right now, but I don't have the time to watch a show. Those two characters are actual, real pirates from history. Everybody knows who Blackbeard is, but I'm going to be focusing...
His real name was Edward Teach.
Yes, it was. But I'm going to...
Sorry, in case people didn't know.
I'm going to be focusing on Stede Bonnet, because... If anyone who's watched the show, they know that Stede is a little bit, he's a fancy boy. I don't know how to put it other than he is a fancy fucking boy.
Just a fancy boy.
He's a little fancy boy.
Yeah, well...
He's a little boy who likes berries and cream.
Yes, he does.
Y'all 90s babies who had to live through that fucking nightmare, welcome back.
Welcome
back.
The characters, at least those two in Our Flag Means Death, are historically there. They're in history. They're not exactly historically accurately portrayed, so I'm going to talk about that more than how much that show's a lot of fun. So,
it would be bad if we came to a history podcast and just talked about a fucking show on Hulu.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Hulu or it doesn't fucking matter? Tell me more about Stede Bonnet.
We can't get into it.
Doesn't matter.
Stede Bonnet becomes a pirate in 1717 because, there's no other way to put it other than the dude has just one of the worst forms of a midlife crisis on record.
I wish more men had midlife crises where they become...
I'm going to talk about that later, because it's so true.
It's definitely better than having a midlife crisis and becoming president and ruining the future of America. But go on.
I was going to say, why buy a Corvette when you can fucking steal from the rich? Anyway, so...
Oh my God, was Robin Hood having a midlife crisis?
Probably! So, by the time he starts piracy in 1717, Bonnet is living on an island on the island of Barbados with a gigantic sugar plantation, a wife, a kid, and this huge military pension from being a retired British Army major. And he's...
Hell yeah.
Man, he's really living the
Yeah, he's just fucking chilling around in a mansion, being a fancy boy, drinking tea, and then one day he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna be a pirate.
Honey, hold my calls. I feel like a bit of piracy.
Pretty much. And it is stated that, like, some scholars believe that he was, like, having spats with his wife, and he was getting just, like, a little tired of kind of sitting around and doing nothing. And he was, like, in his mansion.
As you so often
And he was
do.
just like, fuck
I've
it.
taken a shit in every room in this house.
There's nothing left.
Even the ones that aren't bathrooms.
Yeah, that was implied.
Other historians just think that the dude was fucking insane.
Probably, for sure.
But he leaves his wife.
Especially if he's shitting in all of his rooms.
Gee, that's a you thing. That's not a him thing. You stated that he did that. Oh, jeez. But
if I say it enough, it can become.
We're not going to Procopius the fact that Steed shat in all of his rooms, whether they were bathrooms or not. So he leaves his wife and child and all of his money, and he's like, well, time to be a pirate. And
time to make a new fortune on the seven seas.
Pretty much. But the thing that's funny is, like, you can tell where everything that Steed does in his life, as far as piracy goes, is just a gigantic fucking stumble and somehow falling forward. Because, like, you're a pirate. You need a ship. What's the first thing you do?
You steal a ship.
Right? Like, if Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearls told me anything, you bamboozle a couple of guards into stealing the biggest ship in the Navy. I get it.
It's true.
That's what you do. However, Steed was like, I have money. Why don't I just buy a sloop?
Well, that's not the point. That's not the point.
I knew that's where this was going to. I knew for fucking sure that he was going to be like, how do I start being a pirate? Guess I better buy a pirate ship.
I want to be a pirate and an upper-class, middle-aged white man.
Might as well also buy a pirate crew.
No, he does. He does.
Okay, great. What did he do? Did he also go to the pirate store and get the flag too?
He got a fucking eye patch. Oh, so this is actually really funny.
It's great. So he buys this boat, and he... First off, I would like to say that even in their time, pirates were these famous and almost folk hero-like, icons. So this whole thing is like if someone came up to you and said, hey, do you want to give up everything and we'll turn you into a real superhero? I can see the appeal of this life change, all right?
Yes, I would, honestly, like if I had just a sugar plantation and a wife and a child, I would become a pirate as well.
I think we all would.
His pirate flag was actually kind of cool.
It was. It's like got a heart on it and everything. It's real sweet.
Yeah.
So he buys the ship, but he doesn't know anything about sailing. He's been like a passenger on a boat maybe twice in his life. He knows nothing about how to work a fucking boat. He's been a
sugar farmer.
He's not even a sugar farmer. He owned a plantation. He had other people do it for him. He just went to parties. He was just a fancy boy. That was his job title.
His job title was fancy boy.
So he buys the sloop. He buys 10 cannons for the sloop. Yep. And he hires a 70-person crew of a bunch of, like, people who are not, like, famous pirates.
People of ill repute.
Well, they're not all famous pirates, but they're also piratey enough that they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, what do I want? Like, non-experienced
Yeah,
pirates?
but he hires a crew, he buys cannons, he buys a ship, and he calls it Revenge.
Absolutely.
Revenge
for what, though?
Revenge for what?
Revenge for being a good rich boy.
This upper-class white male is ready to rage against the machine. And for what reason?
Revenge.
Historians are fucking clueless, honestly.
They don't know why he called the ship Revenge.
They think he called it revenge because it was just like a piratey thing to do.
Because it fucking sounded cool.
This dude was
Stede Bonnet is a fucking Chad of pirates.
Yes, Stede Bonnet, the gentleman Chad of pirates.
I hate that.
I can be a better pirate than you. My daddy owns all the shit.
We're gonna get into that.
Oh my god.
I really hope someone was like, hey, Steve, why
Steve?
is the ship named Revenge? Yeah, Steve.
They changed his name to Steve.
They changed his name to Steve because they're like, that at least sounds vaguely more piratey.
Not at all.
And they're like, why did you name the ship Revenge? And he's like, I liked it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But honestly,
that's like a guy naming his Corvette something.
I know that we're joking about him being a Chad of a person, but if I'm being honest, if you're gonna have a midlife crisis as a straight white man, I think that becoming a government robbing high seas anarchist is the way to go.
You're like, when you're like, oh, he's gonna rage against the machine, it is a machine that has only worked for
absolutely.
him. It's like,
he's the main beneficiary of the machine.
Yeah, like, it's like getting mad at your TV for like showing all of the channels.
I know.
Yeah, it's like, I hate this.
But at the same time, it's just so stupid that it's great to me. So for the first time on the high seas, Stede and his crew sails to Virginia, where it raids just a ton of commercial ships and loads up a bunch of stolen ships that they take, and they load it full of treasure and trade goods.
I'm glad that he was like vaguely successful though, right? Like he goes out and like, you know, they actually did do some successful raids instead of them being like, oh, you'll
yeah, he just gets sunk on his first time out.
He's an idiot. Yeah, like he's an absolute idiot.
So he like manages to pull off some good raids at the beginning. And I reiterate, Stede has no fucking clue what he's doing, other than the fact that he hired a crew of very experienced pirates. So after their fun little transatlantic trade robbing, Stede and the crew make their way to Honduras to spend all of their ill-gotten gains. You make the money, it's time to party. That's how it works.
I always really liked that about pirates, where they steal on the water, but once they're on land, they start.
We have rules on land.
Yeah, like they start spending legal tender. I'm like, why don't you just continue?
Because the
things?
ocean has no laws, the land does.
Yeah, you're right. Land daddies will come after you.
So Stede kind of tags along and meets up with Blackbeard in Honduras, and Stede immediately just fucking fangirls over Blackbeard, because Blackbeard's got this reputation as this crazy pirate, and Stede is like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
He's like, I based my whole public persona
pretty much.
off of you.
Exactly. But he convinces Blackbeard to sail with him for a little bit, and
I can't believe it.
It gets bad, though, because it didn't take long for Blackbeard to realize that this was just a guy playing pirates because he could.
This was a guy that was cosplaying as a pirate.
Yeah.
Extended cosplay.
Extended cosplay. But he convinces, quote-unquote, Stede to hang out on his ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, because it was bigger and more comfortable and more suited for a man of his stature. So Stede says sure, and he's like, that seems reasonable, I am a fancy boy.
I am a fancy boy.
And your ship's not just called Revenge, but it's Queen Anne's Revenge specifically.
Yeah, right. It's a specific kind of revenge. So Blackbeard sends his first mate to start commanding the Revenge. And it becomes very clear to Stede Bonnet that he's not really a guest. He's a prisoner now. And Blackbeard has stolen his ship.
Oh no, he's like a real pirate?
Like a real pirate, did real pirate things.
Like,
so Stede manages to get out of harm's way when he makes his way ashore as Blackbeard docks in North Carolina, and he finds the Revenge stripped down and abandoned along with only 25 remaining crew members.
So you're telling me now he actually has a reason for revenge?
Oh, yeah. And he fucking rides that. Because undeterred, Bonnet picks up the crew, sets sail, and literally is like, well, I know how to be a better pirate now, so I'm gonna fuck shit up.
I love the idea. First of all, I just love the concept of, like, he learned by just being in the presence of Blackbeard.
Well, it's not even that he learned just in the presence of being Blackbeard. It's the fact that Blackbeard bested him, and it became his petty-ass mission to just destroy Blackbeard for the rest of his life.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like it's not petty.
It's not petty, but at the same time, like, he named his boat Revenge, and then he had a reason to fucking revenge after that.
Maybe Blackbeard was, like, doing him a favor.
He was,
Maybe
probably.
Blackbeard was doing him a favor.
He was like, you need a better origin story.
I will be the villain in your origin story.
I'll be the villain. I'll take that bullet for you.
So, he ends up becoming a little bit more of a fearsome pirate. He raids a lot. He ends up making a name for himself and making a fair bit of money. But all while still having this, like, stuffy upper-class vibe to him. He doesn't ever lose that, and that's why he is called the Gentleman Pirate. Like, that's how people referred to him. He eventually does get cornered in Cape Fear, the mouth of the Cape Fear River by Colonel William Rhett in August of 1718. And he absolutely abuses his privilege and blames the entire reason of him being a pirate on Blackbeard, which, I mean, he loses points for me there.
Absolutely not true.
Yeah, he was trying to be a pirate, and then he got angry and tried to pirate better. Like, alright, cool, whatever. But he abuses his privilege, and he stays alive just a little bit longer than the rest of his crew. But that's kind of pointless because he's eventually hung for piracy on December 10th, 1718.
Damn.
I kind of have to wonder, and, like, I know that I'll never get a satisfying answer to this, but I kind of have to wonder what his wife is thinking as she's, like,
where's
sitting at home hearing about fucking Stede Bonnet, just, like...
Being Stede Bonnet.
being a gentleman pirate. She just, like, gets a paper. And it's like, so Stede Bonnet captured another ship, and she's like, this fucking idiot.
Yeah, but I also don't think that that either was a real roller coaster of emotion, because it was just like, he's gone, he's a pirate, now he's dead. Because he was pirate for less than 2 years.
Well, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
If I lose some, I mean, your life.
I expected that to be, like, a little bit longer.
Oh, no, he made a name for himself and, like, got infamy and, like,
and then fucking off to
died.
Death.
I guess, like, so, but did she keep the plantation?
I have no idea. I didn't really do research into her.
No, that's fair. I just, like, I hope the wife and child were just like, I guess I'm a boss lady now.
I guess I'm a boss lady now.
I guess I own this.
I guess I gotta put in the fucking work now.
Put in the hours. You have to do the work. You have to get up off your ass and do the work. She turns into Kim Kardashian.
But at the end of the day, the gentleman pirate, Stede Bonnet, I think I like this story, and I like him as a historical character, because that's the best way to put it. He was a person and a real person, but he's also a fucking character.
I know.
The reason I like him so much is basically he did what so many of us want to do so bad, and that's just to pursue life for the sake of life, to have fun and enjoy every second that you have on this earth. He carped the fuck out of that diem. End of story.
True. He definitely
carped several DMs.
He carped all over the DMs ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
So because I think there are a bunch of times where I'm, like, going through my day being like, what if I just, like, left?
Yeah,
what
right.
You guys hear about that woman that pretty much did that exact thing?
What? Like, what
she was declared a missing person. She had been missing for, like, 9, I can't remember if it was months or years, but she had been missing for a while, and people were like, oh, she just disappeared. No one knows where she is.
Just without a trace.
She was eventually found in the woods in, like, a tent and was brought back to civilization. She was given a psych eval, and they were like, yeah, I mean, she's fine mentally, and she's like, okay, I would like to go back to the woods now.
Well, like, why?
Like, she basically woke up one day and was like, I've had it with society.
I feel you, girl.
I'm gonna go live in a tent in the woods.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's not illegal.
No, it's not.
Like, let me just be in the woods. But yeah, I mean, I think, like, we've all had those moments where you're like, I just kind of want to leave. But we don't do it because we have things like keeping us in place that we like. But
yeah,
I wonder, like, what was the final straw for him where he was like...
I think it was, by the sounds of it, it just sounds like the monotony of
everyday
running
life.
A sugar plantation.
Like his day-to-day.
Yeah, like, there's a bunch of places that are like, oh yeah, he was just like fighting with his wife a lot and he kind of did it to get away from her. But like, I don't want to believe that because history and like so much of what we've seen in historical documents is like, oh, what a nag, that old bitch. Like, fuck that. No, she probably was just asking him to stop being so mopey because he's a, like, depressed rich guy. And he was finally like, you know what? Fine, you're right. I am a depressed rich guy. I'm going to go be a pirate.
And I'm going to go do depressed rich guy stuff.
I'm going to go be a pirate to spice up things. Like...
Yeah, like, also in stories like that, where the guy just kind of, like, fucks off and they blame the wife, like, they usually give more reasoning, like, as to what they were fighting about.
Yeah.
Instead of them, like, leaving it up in the air, being like, oh, there was just problems in the marital bed. Like, if there's problems in the marital bed, dude, like, do what every other gentleman in that time did and just, like, I don't know.
Have a mistress.
Yeah, like, have a mistress. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I mean...
You don't just become a pirate because you're just like, my wife is yelling at me.
My wife.
My wife.
My wife.
We should get to Meghan's story.
Yeah. Okay. No. So,
as much as I love Stede Bonnet,
I do really like him.
Hours,
yeah.
But we should let Meghan tell her story.
Yeah. I'm not as interested as...
Stop.
In the name of love.
Listen,
before you break my heart.
All right. So here's the title of my story.
Yes.
Yes, please.
It's called "How to Get Ahead in Life."
Oh.
Is it?
Is
it about guillotines?
No. I feel like we haven't talked about serial killers in a while on this show.
I feel like we've talked about a lot of serial killers, but continue.
In a while.
It has been a long time.
It's been a while.
Since
Anyway, so it's been a while. So I wanted to take a moment and return to a tried and true what the fuck history staple, murder.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a journey with me in the Ford Tacoma to a magical place called Galicia in España.
Okay.
The year is 1810, and everyone was peasants. Don't fact check me, because I assume everyone was peasants at this time. We're
all peasants.
Yeah, we're still all peasants.
We're all peasants at heart.
We are still all peasants deep down in our souls at heart. And I'm going to talk about the poor just runs through everyone's veins. So I'm going to talk about a dude called Diogo Alves. He was born, obviously, to a family of peasants. And he was an unremarkable child until he fell off of
As most of the poors are.
That's true. I feel like all of these stories, when it's like, oh, he came from a poor family, he was an unremarkable child, and then tragedy struck.
So unremarkable, in fact, that the world twisted around his poorness.
What was that, Zach?
What you're saying is he was like every one of us other fucking people on the earth, like just a normal Joe.
He was just an average Joe, not your average Joe's, as he founded that restaurant later on. So he was an unremarkable child until he fell off of the family horse at a young age, and he hit his head. His family, being very kind, poor souls, immediately nicknamed him Pensada, which means blow, because he took a blow to the head. If you needed that explanation, they were poor.
Insensitive.
They were poor.
Oh yeah, this was the only way they had to be fucking entertained.
And the only entertainment is abusing our children.
Yeah, they were like, this. We can't afford to go to shows or like have any or travel. So when our child falls off the family horse,
we're just gonna give him a rude nickname.
Yeah, it's a little funny, I guess. So this obviously like isn't a good nickname. Like we are all in agreement, right?
Yeah, it's a bad nickname.
Established that it's bad nickname.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of connotations and ways that it could be taken in. So after never living down that name, I assume, his family sent him off to work in Lisbon at the age of 19. They're like, go ahead, blow. Like, go earn your way in the world. And once there, he changed jobs several times, and stopped writing to his family. He just sort of cut off contact, presumably because they kept calling him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, you know?
Yeah. I'd be like, hey, my name is Diogo. And they'd be like, blow, old blow. Big blow. He began to drink and gamble, and that's when he realized that a life of crime might be more profitable than whatever he had been doing up until this point.
Hey, it doesn't matter if you're rich, it doesn't matter if you're poor. The answer is always crime.
And the answer is always, you could own a sugar plantation, or you could have a really mean, poor Portuguese family, and crime is the common denominator. He moved into a home near this aqueduct called the Aqueduto das Aguas Livres. But
sounded like a solid pronunciation there. Anyway,
wasn't that good?
It seemed real good. I was like,
Wow, that really rolled off her tongue. So it was simply just called the Aqueduct, which, surprise, was a big, impressive fuck-off aqueduct in Lisbon. He then earned his second nickname, the Aqueduct Murderer.
Much better this time.
So not fun crimes, but serial killer crimes.
Yeah, serial killer crimes, because he murdered and robbed passerbys there, and then threw them off the top of it to make it look like it was a suicide.
Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a murder!
There's been a murder or a suicide?
Or has there,
and he's just like, I'm gonna go, or has there. That's my suspicion. This ploy did succeed for a time. Between the years of 1836 and 1839, Alves and the gang that he put together did this about 70 times.
Oh my gosh, why? That's so much murder!
It's a lot of murder. Like, and it's in between about, 3 years where he commits all of these murders. Like, he's not taking a break. And the police were just like, oh, maybe they're all copycat suicides. Maybe this is the hot new suicide place. Because they couldn't figure it out. They're like, who would be
looking for a hot new place to commit suicide?
Have you heard of the Aqueduct? And people are like, yeah, I hear that place is really good. So Alves and his gang were only caught when they became really ballsy and decided to murder 4 family members of a local doctor inside their house.
Yeah, I mean, that's not at the aqueduct. You fucked up, my dude.
Yeah, dude, it seems like if he stood by the aqueduct thing, he could have kept doing this, in perpetuity, but then he was just like, this doctor's making a lot of money. Just like doctors do. So a jury found Alves and his gang guilty, and he was hanged. However, this wasn't the last we were to see of him. Oh no. Scientists.
Pretty sure crime stops with death.
Well, his crime stopped, but Alves didn't. Because scientists got involved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What?
I was like, is it ghosts? Is it ghosts in the fountain?
Is it ghosts?
You got ghosts in your fountain. You should do cocaine about it.
No, I don't. Also, cocaine I don't think was a thing yet.
I bet you it was.
I bet you it was too.
Do you think cocaine was a thing back in 1839?
It might not have been, like, called cocaine, but I bet...
Okay, we're gonna...
Bet it
okay,
exists.
but,
we're
like, pirates
when
used snuff powder, which was cocaine.
Invented.
Snuff powder.
Okay, cocaine, a history. Isolated cocaine from cocoa leaves in 1860.
Okay.
Okay, it's almost cocaine time.
It's almost cocaine time. Yes.
I absolutely love the idea of someone looking at a clock being like, okay, guys, chill out. It's almost cocaine time.
Yeah, and it's like the clock is years, too. It's like 1840. They're just like, another 20.
Another 20 to cocaine time.
Just pulls out a metal tin with a mirror on the inside. It's snorting time.
It's snorting time. So...
for posting information just in general from people to people as opposed from government to people?
I really don't know.
Because somebody just delivered a black and white Boston Terrier that's about 6 months old to our doorstep.
To our doorstep?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Where is it?
It's upstairs.
Can I have it?
No. Because we don't know who it belongs to. It was found wandering up and down Marie Avenue.
Oh my god.
But they brought it here because they knew Boston.
Because we know we have Bostons?
Because Boston.
Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy. About 6 months, at least 6 months old. He's been neutered.
God gave us a gift. No, let me
Yeah, go. You can.
Let me, guys. Give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries.
Please. A literal puppy got delivered to your door.
Yeah.
It's a little boy.
He's so ecstatic about it.
That's really that's so weird.
That is weird.
You just hear him in the background.
It's a boy.
Oh my god, you're so fucking cute.
You can't get attached.
Did you find out whose dog this is?
He's just like a puppy that somebody dropped off at our house.
With no note or anything?
No note. He doesn't have a collar.
How are you supposed to do anything?
Come on, bud. Oh, he's a good boy.
Oh my god, he already loves you.
Come on. My dad was like, don't get attached. But I already love him. His ears curl back. He's so fucking cute.
Can you send us a picture?
Yeah. Can you send us a picture so we can get attached?
Yeah, hang on. I'm gonna take a picture of him.
Okay.
Buddy. I love this guy. He's so
I love this guy.
Hey. Over here. Look at yourself.
I'm so excited.
He's so cute. And I'm just holding him in my lap like he's not possibly disease-ridden. All right, please continue your story.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll finish this up really quick. So, scientists got involved and wanted to know why Diogo was committing crimes. Like, what was responsible for his murderous actions? So after his hanging, they cut off his head and they preserved it in a glass jar filled with formaldehyde. And though they couldn't find out what triggered him to commit murders, Alves's head is still in the anatomical theater of the University of Lisbon's Faculty of Medicine.
Wow.
After all this time.
That's prestigious.
You too can see what a guy looked like in 1839 with all of his skin.
What a crimesman.
What a crimesman looks like.
What a crimesman of Elden days looks like.
Yeah, you too can see what he... It's gross, too.
Yeah.
Like, his eyes are all opened.
Send us the picture.
Yeah, I'll send you the picture.
Yeah, it sounds real fucking creepy.
I just want to see this out of morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's funny too because you know how like when water is in a round glass jar, like it kind of magnifies
stuff.
Yeah. That's what it does
Yeah.
To his face. Okay, so here it is. He is weird.
Liquefied.
Looking. He is liquefied.
He's Liquid Snake.
Liquefaction. Did you post it in the...
Oh! All I can think of is fucking... You ever watch The Legend of Zorro with Antonio Banderas?
Yes.
Where he just, like, pulls the jar of his brother... with his brother's head in the jar?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's
Guys,
what that reminds me of.
I gotta be honest with you, this is giving me, like, such Futurama vibes.
Yeah, it's also giving you real big ick vibes.
I was gonna say,
ick.
all I can think about is
this
ick. This guy is all of a sudden gonna be like, Agnew! Jeez, fucking hell.
But that's it. That's my story.
Okay. Cool.
That's a story, and it's...
I know it's not as interesting as, like, a puppy left on your doorstep.
Knock it off. For those of you that are just tuning in, and I'm assuming that Zach did edit out a fair bit of me running away, but a 6-month-old puppy was just left on our doorstep. Because he's a Boston Terrier, and my family owns, not, like, a lot, but we do have 2 Boston Terriers that run around in the yard. So somebody just dropped off a puppy, and my parents are contacting animal control to see if we can figure out who the dog's owner is.
I'm still waiting for this fucking picture.
Oh, that's gonna have to come later.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, I'll launch into my story. So as with most stories having to do with history, this whole story is a bit of a fucking mess. I'm gonna introduce our main character, who is a gentleman by the name of Patrick Lyon, who worked as a blacksmith in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay. L-Y-O-N or L-I-O-N?
L-Y-O-N.
Okay.
And with that in mind, we begin. Our story starts in the year of our Lord, 1798, when Pat Lyon is commissioned to make new keys for a bank by a gentleman by the name of Samuel Robinson.
Yeah, but how cool would it be if his name was actually Sin? How cool would it be if his name was actually Sin?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Sinuel. So according to Robinson, the Bank of Pennsylvania was moving to a carpenter's hall, and they needed new keys made, but they needed them on, like, a rush job.
Okay.
And so Lyon basically just, like, shrugs his shoulders, makes new keys, and gives them to Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Robinson had in no way worked for the bank at all.
Right. Well, that's a good suspicion to have. So shortly after making the keys for Robinson, Patrick Lyon decides that he's going to leave Pennsylvania for the sunny shores of Delaware. And he's hoping to avoid a plague that was running its way through Pennsylvania at the time, the yellow fever. While Patrick himself managed to stay alive, his apprentice unfortunately succumbed to the illness 2 days after their arrival in Delaware. But Patrick decides, being the main character that he is, that he's going to hunker down and weather the storm in Delaware before he eventually returns home. And when, he had been planning, when he was leaving with his apprentice, he was like, we can start a new shop in Delaware, wait for the yellow fever to blow over in Pennsylvania, and then we can move back. But unfortunately, as I said, the apprentice did die.
Yeah.
That being said, as he's hanging out in Delaware, his interest gets piqued by a story written in the paper, and it is a story that up until now had never occurred in the Americas. Yes, my dear friends, I bring you tonight the story of America's first ever bank robbery.
Oh, really? Shit!
We can track that. We have the numbers on that.
So, the first ever bank robbery was an amazing total of $162,821. Sorry. No cents here. Which, in 2020 money, is $3,869,262.36. And so obviously the loss of this amount of money caused quite a stir.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking money.
This was the topic of conversations for several weeks. Lion was watching, the news unfold via newspaper, and he's coming up with his own theories about who might have perpetrated such a crime. He makes his own theory that it must have been Samuel Robinson, because the bank that was robbed was the Bank of Pennsylvania, which Lion had made keys for. Mm-hmm. And then, an associate of his tells him that he is a suspect.
Oh.
So Lion decides, well, that's preposterous. I'm going to go back. I'm going to clear my name. And when he arrives in Pennsylvania and declares himself, he gets arrested for the crime of robbery. He tries to tell police about his fanfic that Robinson was the culprit.
Fanfic,
yeah.
His theory.
His game theory that
Robinson did it.
Robinson had done it.
Jacques
I was trying to remember his first name as well, Samuel Robinson. So he tries to tell police, and police are like, yeah, no, nice try, but not today. And so he gets thrown in prison.
Oh, jeez.
He remains in prison for 3 whole months until the actual criminal gets caught. And what's interesting, too, is that not only is he in prison for 3 months, but he's also kept for an additional, 2 weeks after they caught the guy who did the fucking robbery.
Why? For what reason?
Because they didn't believe the news that was coming out. The guards were just like, yeah, no, that can't be real.
Oh my gosh.
But the actual criminal turns out to be a duo of men, in fact. One of them is a man by the name of Isaac Davis, who had accompanied Samuel Robinson on his trip to get new keys for the bank. He worked at the bank. And the second man was a man by the name of Thomas Cunningham, who died of the yellow fever 2 days after the robbery. But he had been sleeping in the bank the night before, and basically could have, opened some of the doors.
Huh.
So, the reason that Lion was a suspect in the first place is because he had bought himself some new tools, and he had left town. But the new tools were required purchases because he was a blacksmith.
Yeah.
And he had fled to run away from the yellow fever. But obviously, that caught up with him. But to investigators, it did look very suspect that this guy, A, had minted new keys for the bank, and B, had, run away the very next day.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you make new keys for a bank, and then all of a sudden you're like, I bought new tools and I'm fucking on out of here. That's a little sus.
Yeah. And so, what's interesting about this story, first of all, is not only is this America's first robbery, but it is a case of mistaken identity, a case of, the justice system getting it wrong. But what makes this story what the fuck history worthy is the way in which the criminal got caught.
Okay.
Isaac Davis got caught because he was depositing the stolen money back into the same bank that he stole from.
I can't believe it.
As I mentioned, Isaac Davis worked at the bank that got robbed. He was the robber. He began to deposit the wealth back into his own personal bank account, and when he was questioned by police about his new wealth, he folded like a fucking chair.
I can't believe... Dude, why wouldn't you just pick another bank?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
all you had to do was not pick the same bank.
It's like if you worked for a retail store, stole a bunch of shit, and then came in the next day and said, can I return these? I don't have a receipt.
Essentially, though.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he gets questioned by police about his newfound wealth, and he folds. He collapses in on himself like a dying star. And he decides, I'm just gonna tell him where all my wealth came from. And instead of sentencing him to jail, the court asks him to give the money back. They're like, we'll just count it as time served if you give us all the money.
Okay.
And he goes, yes, sir, I'll give back every penny. And he does, and he serves no jail time at all.
That's bullshit, because they made the fucking
Patrick
blacksmith.
Lyon is in fucking... Meanwhile, Patrick Lyon is in jail for 3 months and 2 weeks.
For a crime he didn't commit.
And the guy who actually committed the crime gets off scot-fucking-free and just gets to, like, live all around.
So, like... I don't know when it started that you could, like, sue the government for,
for gross negligence.
Well, also for, like, putting you in jail wrongly, right? Like, I know that
false imprisonment.
Yeah, false imprisonment is a better term for that. Because I know now, if it comes out that you're innocent and you were incarcerated for a certain amount of years, like... people can get money. Like, they get monetary compensation for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
if
I was that guy, I'd be like, I'm gonna need you to show me how sorry you are in dollar bills. You know?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like how, like, last time I told that story about the lobster dude and how he committed murder and got no jail time, and then his wife committed a murder and got jail time.
Yeah.
And she committed a murder for a far better reason than, like, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just a violent alcoholic, and she was like, I'm scared.
I'm scared.
Help me, I'm scared.
Meanwhile, this guy didn't even commit a crime.
Yeah.
And still gets put in jail.
Jeez.
Yeah. Justice
so anyways, when I was just browsing the internet and I came across this and I was just like, that, if anything, is a what the fuck worthy story.
Oh, absolutely. You know I love me some crime shit. So
well, what was really interesting to me was just like so it was in meme format basically, where it's just like the first bank robbery was thwarted because the guy was depositing the money back into, his own account.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's too dumb to be real.
And then you looked it up and you're like, oh, shit.
And then I looked it up. But it's talking about, like... So I read, like, a whole fucking story that was just about Patrick Lyon. And I was like, what does this have to do... Like, it was one of those recipes that tells you everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what does this have to do with...
Like, I first learned about the existence of cinnamon rolls on a cold fall day.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, what does this have to do with my recipe?
I was, basically. I was just like, what?
Oh, what?
What?
I can't believe we have it on record, though. I feel like bank robberies are such like a...
I did just post a picture of the dog that was dropped off at my house.
Okay.
In the Discord.
Oh, that's a dog.
Bank robberies are like such a thing
so
that always happens, and you're like, oh, we can't possibly know when the first one in America happened.
Yeah, as soon as Matt said that, I was like, what?
How?
Yeah, we can't know. We can't.
How do we know?
Sure. But we
How
can.
do we
know
because we do.
This?
So yeah, that's my story.
I loved it. I'm here for it.
It was good. I stan it.
I stan it. But you have a puppy to take care of at the moment now, so Matt...
I do have a puppy to take care of, and I'm sad that I'm gonna miss Megan's.
No, it's fine. Well, I'll save it for next time.
Yeah,
okay, great.
Save it for next time.
Just make sure that you remember. That being said, though, guests, dear listeners, lovers of history like ourselves, I have but one final question for you,
Before
and it is...
you get to that question.
I love it when you cut me off at the knees.
I know. Well, you were such on a roll, and you were like, going, and I was like...
you were like, you've got a dog to take care of, so I was assuming that you were going to let me go take care of the dog.
I was going to let you take care of this dog, but I was also going to do the important things like calling out our socials.
Yeah, dude, let him do the thing.
Let him do the thing. He can do the thing.
Okay, you pet the dog in order to make yourself feel a little bit calmer while I talk about following us on social media. Folks, hi, it's ZaCHary here.
Hi.
If you don't have a dog
to
pet...
by the way, for the past fucking 2 episodes, you haven't been saying ZaCHary in your intros?
I mix it up every now and then, but I digress. If you would like to do us the honor of following us on our socials, we'd really appreciate it, because it would be pretty ding-dang cool of you. You can find us at _triumvirate_productions on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter at triumvirate_pod. And also, you can officially find us on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Triumvirate Productions. Is it the Triumvirate Productions, or is it just Triumvirate Productions?
It's a really great question, Zach. You, as our marketing director, should know.
I know. You know what? Sometimes there's a pesky the in there. I'm looking it up right now.
It's the_Triumvirate_Productions.
No, if you just go to patreon.com and look up the Triumvirate Productions, or you go to www.patreon.com/Triumvirate Productions, you'll find us there, and you can sign up for our Patreon, where you can get things like our What the Fuck After Dark, where you hear all of the shenanigans, like tonight, where Matt randomly gets a dog delivered to him. But yeah, so if you want to do that, or give us a and review on Apple or Spotify. If you write us a review on Apple Podcasts, we might actually read it out and be like, hey, this person's super dope. Now, Matt, thank you for petting the dog to relieve the stress. You can take it away from here.
All right, lovers of history and fellow human beings that like dogs that are going to let me go pet this dog. My name is Matt, and I have but one question for you, and it is this. What the fuck, history?